Here we go. All right, so we are just going to go through the itinerary, just kind of, just not into too much specifics, but I just want y'all to get an idea of how the itinerary is going to flow and what some of the places look like, so you know what to expect. And feel free to interrupt me with questions as we go along. So here is the map of Sicily, and as y'all know, we're going to be based in Palermo, then down in Modica in the southeast, down here. And then at Lingua Glossa on Mount Etna, and we're going to make day trips out from those bases. So this is Palermo, lovely seaside city. We are going to be staying at the Planeta family Palazzo in the city. You can see the facade there on the left. We enter there through a side door, so you can kind of see when your driver drops you off or taxi cab. The number 68 is in Via Principe di Belmonte, is that side door kind of behind the tree in this photograph. And you actually ring a bell, and then you'll be let into the palazzo. We'll be met by either Alessandro or Alessia or me or Cecilia should be there when you get there. And the apartments kind of look like this. They're really nice, spacious, light-filled apartments, and everyone has a kitchen, so you can actually make breakfast for yourself. We'll put a couple little breakfast items in there. And then you can also, for breakfast, just run downstairs. There are pastry shops right on the street that the palazzo is on. So if you want to go have a cannolo for breakfast, if you don't get enough cannoli while you're in Sicily, you can just pop downstairs. Or you can have coffee in your pajamas, which is what I like to do.
Which is what we do.
Right. And then also for suppers, we tend to have, we end up eating kind of biggish lunches and having tastings and stuff. So that's one reason why I gave everybody basically most suppers are on your own. And here in this instance, you have a little kitchen if you just want to make yourself some vegetables or whatever. You can, have a little supper at home too, or if you're tired, you don't have to go out. It makes it kind of easier. So in Palermo, we're going to see some of the monuments in town, in the city. We're going to go through food market. And then so we have a morning tour all together, and then you have an afternoon on your own in Palermo. And just because of the way it works out with logistics, that's our very first day. So you're going to have a little bit of a background tour, so you sort of know where you are, and then you're on your own. And you may just want to rest up, but if you want to go out on your own, I gave you some ideas for things you might want to see and do, such as the cathedral. We're not going to go together. We're not going to go into the inside of the cathedral. But if you do, you can see things like the tomb of Federico II, the Holy Roman Emperor from the medieval period, who was known as Stupor Mundi, and this lovely tiara of his wife Costanza of Aragon. Look how gorgeous that thing is. Don't you want one? I want one.
I want one. And what the earrings?
I know it's all attached. It's like built-in earrings. I love it. I think it's a jewel encrusted tiara. Just behind the cathedral is a street called Via Papiretto, where they sell kind of just little antique shops, kind of vintage antique type stuff. If you're into that, that's a good place to go. The neighborhood called the Calza district is a good area to walk around. Just good architecture, cute little shops. It got heavily damaged in World War II and just has slowly been coming back to life, but it has come back to life. You might also want to see the Archaeological Museum, dedicated to Antonino Salinas in Palermo, where they have objects such as the 6th century BC metapiece from the temples of Selinunte, where we're going to go. Palazzo Abatellis, the regional art gallery with sculptures by Laurana, various paintings by Antonello da Messina, among other people. And there's this great medieval fresco of basically the triumph of death. Very cool fresco. And the whole palazzo is this gorgeous Catalan Gothic palazzo that was sustained war damage. So it was kind of shored up and renovated by Carlo Scarpa, the Italian architect. And then he also was in charge of the installation. So it's a gorgeous museum, very well installed collection. That's a nice visit. Or you could pop around and see some of the Baroque churches in Palermo. Um, so there's various things y'all can kind of do on your own on your afternoon in Palermo. And then we're from Palermo, we're going to go out into the countryside and we're going to make visits to an olive oil producer, a winemaker. We're going to have a tasting in his vineyard. We're going to have a cooking lesson down on the south coast. And then we're going to visit the archaeological site at Selinunte, which you see there on the left. We're also going to go to Segesta, which is the one you see on the right. Celia and I were just talking about that. She's bringing her walking stick because the lane that you see going up to the temple is a bit of a hike. So there's a good bit of walking here. So bring comfortable shoes for sure, and a walking stick's not a bad idea if you think you want some help on balance. So when we leave Palermo, we are going to make a 3.5 hour drive right through the center of the island, and we're going to stop in the middle and meet with this excellent archaeologist called Serena Raffiotta. She is a wonderful scholar, and she's been very active together with her father, who's a magistrate. She's been active in returning some of the works of art that were stolen from Sicily and then sold on the black market to museums in the United States. Super interesting visit. So we're going to break up our long drive and meet with Serena and have a good lunch. And then we're going to go to Modica. Modica is this city, very particular city in the south, a small town basically in the southeast of Sicily, and it's built kind of on the sides of a ravine. And there was a river at the bottom, which has kind of been covered over and channeled, but the city itself is built on these the two sides of the ravine. And it's an ancient city. So there are a lot of, very old kind of humble homes and whatnot. And then it sustained damage in this very big earthquake that hit that area in 1693. So all the rebuilding is, very elaborate Baroque. So they have this, totally elaborate Baroque cathedral. Where we're going to stay is a place called Thalia, which I think I might have mentioned in some of the information before. It's actually a collection of some of these old homes, just kind of humble farmer homes, basically. They actually lived in caves here too. Some of the spaces are actually, kind of dug out of the rock, and it's all surrounded a garden. So you approach it like this, like it doesn't look like much, and it's actually pedestrian. You kind of have to walk down from where our vans can arrive, and then walk down some steps here, and then it opens up into this garden with a view out across to the other side of the ravine. So it's a really lovely place. Here, just kind of an example of what the rooms look like and the garden. Again, terraces. To get down into town is you have to kind of walk down some steps and then down some of the winding little lanes to get down to the actual center of town. But it's pretty easy to get down and back up, but it is some walking, and there are steps. So again, if you need a walking stick, it might be a good idea to pack one. And then back up at Thalia, they've just started this year offering kind of a home restaurant situation. So if you decide you want to have a supper up there, we can reserve that for you. Again, you might just want to have a light snack or something down in town or up at your room. And they have a pool as well. That's kind of a new addition. I've actually never seen it. It's not heated though, so not sure how usable that's going to be, but it looks lovely. In Modica, we're going to have a chocolate tasting. We're going to see a medieval church that was actually in a cave. Remember, I mentioned before there are a lot of the spaces in the original town were actually Rupestrian spaces. And then from Modica, we're going to visit a farm at Palazzolo Acreide and do some tastings there, have a big lunch. We're going to do some free time in Syracuse. We're going to go to Ortigia, which was the original Greek settlement, the little island of Ortigia, which is just off the big island of Sicily. It's this tight little ancient town center, really just beautiful to walk around, gorgeous piazza, lovely church. I'm going to do a little mini tour of the church, which is kind of a particular space. We are going to go to meet Giovanni and Melissa, their brother and sister. They kind of single-handedly um, brought back to life the cultivation of sesame seeds in Ispica, which is the town nearby. And they'll tell us all about that. They work together with farmers. They actually have a pastry shop, but they work together with farmers who produce the sesame seeds, and then they make their grandparents' recipes using the sesame seeds, which is super traditional in this area. So it's kind of cool to learn about that cultivation, which had started to really, it was almost totally disappeared, and they've really brought it back. And there are people down there making tahini and whatnot. It's really cool. So it's like Sicily, suffered mass immigration um, because of poverty and other things in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And it was sort of just kind of the thing to do was to leave, right? And then hopefully come back if you made enough money and you were able to come back. But there are young people now who are choosing to stay in Sicily, like these guys, and we'll meet some other people as well. And they're really revitalizing the economy. And it's great to meet these folks who are courageous enough to stay there and really, work in their local community. So I'm happy that we get to have meetings with people like them. After this is the day when the Festa of San Giorgio happens. So our original plan was to go to Noto, which is a lovely, lovely small town with great Baroque architecture. But I'm thinking what we really want to do is go back to Modica and see this festival, which is going to just be, I think, wild. And I think we have a good view of it from our hotel, from the terraces up there.
Look at that.
But I know, look, it's crazy. I've been to
I
one of these
know. I
before.
can't wait.
No, it's amazing. I've never seen anything. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, it's just crazy. They just shoot off all of these streamers, and you're just like, it's like raining color all over you. It's really music and there's all sorts of stuff. So I think that'll be really fun, and I recommend that y'all do that. Although you could choose to go to Noto if you prefer. And then we're going to go up to Mount Etna, and we're going to stop by Taormina. That's a drive of about 2 hours. So one morning we'll leave kind of early so that we can get to Taormina, where y'all will have a morning on your own. And Taormina is just a lovely place to stroll. There's tons of shopping. You can have, a coffee in the piazza with a view of the ocean. You can visit the 3rd century BC ancient Greek theater, which was later remodeled by the Romans. Great view of Mount Etna in the back. They also have lovely public gardens, so we'll have a morning there. Then we're going to go on to Mount Etna. We're actually going to have a wine tasting and visit a vineyard. Etna is so important for the Italian wine scene. That's our first stop is going to go to this winery of this woman called Irene Badala. Very down home person and location and excellent wine. So she and her husband will kind of give us the lay of the land on Etna. And then we're going to go to Lingua Glossa and check into our hotel, which is called Shalai. And it's this great, cute little hotel. It actually used to be the town hall the building was the town hall of Lingua Glossa. It's now this adorable little hotel. No elevator in the hotel, just so you know. There's a flight of steps to get up to all the rooms, which look like what you see on the right. And there's a little spa there. So if anybody's tired by this point, you just want to have a spa treatment one day, feel free. From Lingua Glossa, we're going to go up to Messina. We're going to visit a museum there. The point is to see some kind of really important works of art. Messina is a pretty town. It was leveled though by the earthquake in 1906, so it's this real mix of modern urban planning with a couple of little bits and pieces of the original city. And then we're going to cross the Strait of Messina, taking a ferry. Caronte and tourist, as you can see here. Celia, has nobody else joined? We're still just the four of us.
Yeah, that's it. And whoever the Zoom user is.
We offered, we tried.
I know.
And then, so we're going to go to Reggio, go to another museum, see some very important works of art, ancient Greek sculptures, come back to Messina. And then on our very last day, we're going to go up to a little bit higher up on Mount Etna. We're going to visit a pistachio grove and a vineyard. Again, two young people who are just doing great work. And then we're going to go higher up still with our volcano guide and have a little volcano tour. um, way up there before our last supper.
Dress warmly.
Dress warmly. It's cold up there,
It is
lots
cold.
of either slippery sand or moving rocks. So, wear some nice, comfortable kind of hiking type shoes, or anyway, no sandals for sure. And yeah, bring layers because it gets cold up there. This was in, I think this was in May when these pictures were taken.
Mhm. Yeah, it
We're
was.
chilly. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So,
cold.
yeah. Okay, so that's our itinerary. I'm going to stop sharing and then we can answer any questions. Okay, here we are back. So
Mhm.
that's just kind of a rundown, just so you kind of have an idea of what to expect. We're going to be moving around in two vans, two 7-passenger vans, with our drivers, Giuseppe and one of his colleagues. We love our drivers. They're
Mhm.
cute and fun. So that's our plan. Any questions?
I just I have a couple questions.
Uh-huh.
One is, Jim and I are coming a day early,
Uh-huh.
and you're looking, and it looks like there's a couple of bus options from the airport to the hotel that we can take. One's a ride share, one's just a regular bus that takes us somewhere in the city. Does that sound like a good plan for us? I mean,
I've never done that, but there is no reason not to do that. If you have something just see where it takes you in the city. Um, I believe some of those buses come into the area of Teatro Massimo or the Politeama Theater, which is super close to where we're staying.
okay.
Till
Well,
so
and we can always take a cab if we need to,
uh-huh.
but we're just planning to do that on our own.
Okay,
So.
good. Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. I would just check to see where they drop you off, because if it's too far and you have to take a cab anyway, then you might as well just get a cab from the airport.
Okay, okay, I'll look. I did kind of find where I think we're staying on a map, so.
Yeah.
How much do cabs cost from the airport? Like, are they really?
Cabs are, I think, about 50 or 60 if last time I checked that. So
Yeah,
the driving service was actually for two people, didn't make a ton of sense. The cab seemed to cost less. Um,
cool.
if people were landing at the same time, which no one really is, I mean, I know just some of the there's a friend group that's kind of landing at the same time, but other people just are all coming in. Some people are coming in 2 days ahead. Everybody's kind of spread out. So I wasn't able to combine y'all with anybody. Had
We're,
someone
we're,
else landed at the
Yeah.
same time, I would have combined you and you could have done a driver. But
we're fine. We're
okay.
fine with that. The other question we had, and it, was about evening restaurants. Now, it kind of sounds like you think we will be eating enough in the day, you know. I guess the question is, I assume we won't have any problem like finding a place to eat, but do you recommend, like several times in the description you said, make a reservation. So what's your advice generally about that? And if we were, for example, to call one of these places, would we be able to make a reservation? Would we have
Probably so.
Allie?
I can call for you. If you want me to call, I can do that. If you definitely want to eat someplace in particular, like one of those fancier restaurants in Palermo, you want to try it,
Yeah.
I would recommend reserving if you definitely want to eat at a specific place.
Okay.
Celia and I have the reason I kind of repeated the thing about only make a reservation if you think you really want to eat is because it's just really not easy for me to cancel reservations. They're tiny restaurants. I know all these people, and we've had that happen before where people have reserved every single night and then canceled every single night. Um, so I am trying to do portion control on all of our meals that we have together because it does start to get to be kind of a lot. And like the only complaints I get are too much food, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, I'm trying to kind of ratchet back a little bit. And even I just had a group here last week. I'm telling all the chefs small portions. I'm like, oh, we just added a couple more dishes because, it's just hard for them to do that. Anyway, so I'm trying to ratchet back the amount of food a little bit. If it's just two of y'all can always find a place to eat. If it's a
Mhm.
larger group of people, there's a group of 4 or 5 women who are traveling together. If they all want to sit down together, they should probably reserve in advance. And again, if you want to try any specific restaurant, it's probably a good idea to reserve in advance.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, we'll look it over, and if we do, we'll send you an email. But
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to make a phone call. That's no
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Otherwise, I figured that was the case. But do you have any questions?
No, I don't think so.
That was, that was all we were wondering.
Okay, good. And then I often just, get a piece of cheese and a bottle of wine or something and just like rest up in the evening and have that, or you can also just go out for kind of more wine and nibbles at a wine bar kind of thing. You don't have to necessarily sit down for a full meal. And by the end of the week, and we're here for 10 days, by the end, like you're just kind of full. So,
Yeah, okay, sure.
okay.
That probably sounds like
That's fine. Yeah,
a
it's good.
plan and what we would enjoy doing. So
Okay. All right, good.
we'll see if there's anything in particular. Otherwise, we'll just go, what's the word I'm looking for?
There was one place you mentioned that had the kind of home restaurant and so on. That
That I think in Modica, our hotel.
we have to reserve for that.
That definitely needs to be reserved in advance because they only serve if people reserve.
Oh, I
I
see.
see. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
We'll think about it.
Okay.
Elaine,
Yeah.
where are we going to eat? Are we going to eat at Corona that first night?
Yes,
Like-
we're going to go to Corona,
Okay, good. I
our
was
favorite
hoping
British
we could go.
restaurant on the first
It's
night.
fabulous. You'll love it. It's really great. Mhm.
Fabulous. It's all fabulous. It's going to be good.
It's all good. Yeah. That's the problem. It's all good. But the good news is you walk it off. So I've yet to gain weight on an Italy trip because you do a lot of walking, which is a good thing. So you can enjoy your food guilt-free.
Exactly.
Good.
Okay. Anything else? Or I can always, if anything else comes to mind, send me an email.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I've said my piece. Do you have anything else to add, Celia?
Not really, just pack layers because it does get cold at Etna. Elaine kept telling me, but when I actually the first time we went, it snowed. And we were just wearing t-shirts.
That was November though.
In
That was
Taormina.
November.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You're right. That was the November trip. I forgot. But it does get cold up there, even in the spring.
Sure.
So do bring some layers to wear when we get up there. Yeah, that's it. It's a great trip. You're going to love it.
We're looking forward to it. So.
Yeah.
Well, Celia and I both arrive on the 21st as well. So y'all get on the 21st. We'll see you there.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be organizing stuff. And Celia will have just come in from the US as well. So
Oh, okay.
we can all rest up.
Yeah, that first, I find I have to do a day early because that first night, I used to not have that kind of jet lag when I was younger, but now that I'm older, I find I need a little recoup sleep that first night. So,
Familiar.
Well, that's what we figured. We figured we
Yeah.
wanted to start fresh, so we're like, let's just go a little early and
yeah, the day before, it's nice to just go have a good meal somewhere and then just go to bed early. And then
Yeah.
I don't know,
I
that
have
sort
to
of
wake
works
up
for me.
early. Bobby
And
wakes
you
up.
have to wake up early. Well, that first morning
It is.
isn't, that next morning we really don't have to, you and I may have to, but they won't have to
Right.
get up early that next morning. So yeah. So it's all good.
Okay, good.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Have a good Easter. And let me
Yeah.
know if you need anything in the meantime.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right, great.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.